There we go. Hey, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of A Handful of Hope. am so lucky and thankful to have Colleen with us today, who's a university administrator and professor. She is the administrator over a large university testing center and has managed and trained thousands of people during her tenure. Additionally, she has been teaching personal leadership for the past 20 years. Colleen, welcome, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We were having a really fun conversation before about just how we've been approaching this, and you were sharing with me about your team and going through and being one of the first kind of ground zero places and having 80 people who you're overseeing and responsible for, and sharing some of your response with that. Would you be willing to share that with everybody? Because I think
Absolutely.
You had some great strategy, but it's also so indicative, I think, of the narrative many people are facing right now.
So this whole semester, my semester started at the beginning of January, and in my classroom, we were talking about coronavirus at the beginning of the semester of, are we paying attention to this? And we weren't worried about it. My college students weren't worried about it. I wasn't worried about it. We're like, this is happening in China. And then by the top of March, I was wondering, should I just put a contingency plan together? And so I was checking in with my boss, and I thought, because for finals week at a testing center, we give about 8,000 to 10,000 exams the last week of April. That's a lot of students coming through the center on demand whenever they want to. And so I thought, I'll put a contingency plan in place. We won't need to worry about it, because if you have a plan, you don't need it, right? If you don't have a plan, then you run into crisis. So I started putting that plan into place. And then we're on spring break this week. We're off for a full week. Last week, I was in the classroom teaching at 11:30 in the morning, my face-to-face class. And the word came out that campus was going completely online. We're talking 40,000 students.
Whoa.
Most of those in face-to-face type of classes. My class is very engaged, interactive. We do mastermind groups and work together every single time. It's a very enriched, engaged Jack Canfield style of space. And then as I'm walking back from class, I got the call from my boss saying, we're shutting down your center for the rest of the semester. And I'm like, my first thought was, I have over 65 active student employees. We have 6 weeks left in this semester. They need their jobs. They're not going to be able to afford anything. And this is before we even really understood everything going on a much grander scale that's happening around the nation. So my first thought was my students. And so instead of going back to my office, I started hustling, going across campus of just thinking about, okay, what are my resources? What can my students do? How can I farm them out to other departments that aren't being closed down? And the first thing that came to my mind is, if everything's going online, faculty we have a lot of faculty that technology is not their favorite thing, and it scares them. And I'm like, I've got 80 very tech savvy by comparison to a professor, very tech savvy individuals who could help online and whatnot. And as soon as I walked off the elevator into that space, everybody's in crisis at this point, because campus is going to be shutting down. And so, what is it? And I said, what if my team partners with your team and we help the faculty to convert? I pitched this idea to him. He's like, that's a really good idea. Let me start an email chain. I'll be back in touch with you shortly. And so then by that afternoon, that's gone up all the way to the VPs and the president. And they're like, we love it. Go with it. And it's unprecedented. We don't normally have student employees accessing exams, but in this case, we are in not normal times.
Yeah.
So And so that was number one. Then I went to our accommodative area, and they're going to need a lot of anything that's being recorded to put out like on YouTube or anything like that needs closed captioning. So any new videos that are quickly being done, that's a huge number of videos that all of a sudden there's this great demand for. I'm like, hey, I've got tech savvy staff with laptops. They could do closed captioning. Are you interested? And they're like, yes, we're very interested. Let's partner. And so things like that just started happening throughout the day. But then there's also the issue of like, if we can't be open for the center, how could we do our job remotely? It's similar to the conversation you and I are having right now. I'm like, how could I turn our testing center into something similar to that? And so I started playing with ideas with that. And our math faculty are the most stressed because they're the ones that do the most write-on type of exams. That's not easy to convert into an online format. And so I started meeting with math faculty and having conversations with them and just offering, how can we show up to serve? Here's what we have. And so by doing that, it's opened up complete new doors for us. And what looked like last Thursday, I mean, today is Friday. Yeah. So a week, so 8 days ago, we went from being completely shut down, no services mandate, which I completely respect and understand because we would have been a cesspool for spreading virus with how busy and stressed people are when they come in for testing. I get that. To now, over the course of the week, there had been an email that had gone out from my boss to other areas saying, hey, can you use some testing center employees? They're trying to stay employed. And so 5 or 6 different departments reached out and said, yeah, we could use some of your team. Every single one of those areas has now pulled back saying, sorry, we got to take care of our own. And I'm like, it's okay, because through the conversations I've been having around campus, I've made work for us with just having students with laptops at home and their willingness to work and their tech savviness. And so we're downloading software onto their computers. We are converting things for faculty. We're meeting with faculty we've never heard of before. They've never used our center before.
Wow.
We thought it was just going to be for converting those, that are exams already scheduled in our office. But people are coming out of the woodwork asking for help because they don't know what to do. And we're ready to go and we're helping. And it feels awesome. And we're able to do it in the safety of our own homes. We can stay quarantined. And so the testing center may never run the same again. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen when all of this is said and done. Maybe it would be better to have online proctors in the future instead of coming into the center, into our bricks and mortar. But we get to design that as we go. And so I'm floored at what this has been. And it's been so fun to watch my full-time team, because I have 3 youngins that 2 of them have just gotten married in the last year. One of them is becoming a dad for the first time in the next couple of weeks. And so they're all in their 20s, and they've never been through any type of like crisis like this before. I've never been through a crisis quite like this before, but my husband and I are in our late 40s, early 50s. We've been through job layoffs. We've been through, we don't have money for the next set of diapers to come. We've been through really difficult times. And so as this difficult time comes on, we're like, we know what to do. We absolutely know what to do. But my youngins, they don't know what to do. And so all of us are in this retrograde of the most basic levels of safety, security, and belonging right now. So everyone, regardless of age, needs a reminder of, we're in this together. we're connecting through this. We're going to get through this. And as leader, me as the leader, the most important thing I can be doing right now is offering a lot of communication, a lot of reassurance, and a lot of just my belief and trust in them, and allowing my staff to grow and evolve in ways that I wouldn't think of. So many of the ideas we've come up with in the last week haven't been my own. They've been part of the whole team of us just coming together. And instead of being pitted against one another, we're all looking at this,
Wow.
like as this thing in the middle of the table. And we're all approaching it from the same side of, yeah, this might suck, but what do we do with this? Let's have fun. So that's kind of where we are with it.
I love that you're saying fun, because there's a couple of things there. So everybody who just watched that, I encourage you to rewatch it. And I'm going to break down some of the tactical stuff in a minute, but I love that you're using fun, because if you so much of, we were talking offline about the fear being pushed out there, and we forget that even in the midst of fear, chaos, whatever there is, we can still have fun, and we can turn these situations into fun. It's just it's how we approach it. And there's a few things Colleen's doing there, and I want to break it down just so everybody hears. Number one, you hear that she has this overarching attitude of fun, right? So she's ingesting this fun. You even hear her talking. She's animated. She's a fun person to listen to, talk to. But what happened is when they get the initial notice that's shutting down, what does she start doing, right? She identifies her resources. What are the resources? Who are the players on her team? Where can there be cross-pollination? She understands what actions she can take. Who does she need to talk to? Who does she need to communicate? She knows her network. And then what network she doesn't know, she identifies the person who she needs to know the person she needs to know. And then she's taking actions that are focused towards an outcome that it's clearly defined for her. She has these 65 plus people. She wants to make sure they're all taken care of. I mean, and these simple steps are so important because they will help mitigate so much chaos that comes in times of uncertainty, because what will happen is there's the external stuff that's happening, but it's nowhere near as calamitous as the psychological world will put ourselves in. And when we put ourselves in an inner chaos and feel like we're helpless and powerless to do anything, but recognize that you have the ability, if you take these same steps that Colleen just outlined and apply it to whatever your situation is, whether you're managing a team, whether you're trying to manage your family better, whether you're, overseeing something in your community, there are things that you can do to assume control of what's happening. And by doing so, you can direct it towards an outcome that is much more favorable, much more positive, and you can have fun along the way. I love that.
And in breaking it down even to another level, as I think about, that moment where I just went into action. Mm-hmm. That particular day, I walked 18,000 steps on campus. And so I walked literally 8 miles. And nobody was taking phone calls because everyone was in chaos.
Yeah.
And so something that I've been doing this calendar year, is getting up every morning and exercising first thing. That hour of power exercise has been the most important thing for me. And so I had the physicality to be walking everywhere, because if I would not have shown up and caught people in hallways, I would have never been able to talk to them. The timing of that was so important, and to get on it. And so just taking care of me first each morning, and every morning since then, I've been anxious to get in and take care of things. But I've told myself, if I don't take care of me first, I'm not going to be able to get in to do that. So I've exercised every single day. I've eaten healthy almost every single day. And I've done the things that are needed so that I can do this. And sorry, you're hearing my husband on a call. We're both managing Ground Central here right now. He's forgetting I'm on an interview.
What is that expression? It's we fail to prepare, or we prepare to fail, right? Something like that. And it's, I love that you're emphasizing that. Take care of yourself first, because if you don't start with you, it's going to make it so much more difficult to serve others. But if you start with you, I mean, I love that you have that capacity, that foundation to go and serve everyone else and to show up in ways and to improvise and be open to being improvising like that, because you've given yourself enough of foundation that you can thrive in that ever changing place. And it sounds like too, like in the midst of it's thrown the system up so well where it's giving you an opportunity to really start looking at things from a different perspective and saying, well, wait, is this really the best way to do it? Which for many of us right now in our lives, in our businesses, I encourage you to do the same thing. Is right now you've been gifted with this unforeseen act of whatever we want to call it. But the gift is in maybe take a step back and look at it from this different perspective and see, is this the best way to operate? Is it the most effective way to serve my customers? Is this the most effective way to manage my finances? Am I doing all the things I need to be doing? Is there something we could do to pivot right now that's going to really make a difference now and in the future too?
And check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
It's not about what I do best, and that's not how I do business. It's how can I serve?
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen when this is all said and done. I just know I'm having a good time along the way, and that is infectious. I'm starting to see that with others who were more doom and gloom now going, okay, we have some solutions. I can see this working. I can see those shifts happening, and that's awesome. And that's what we want, to be able to get through this. Because if we go into negative vibes, that's going to affect our bodies. That's going to bring on illness. And so I don't want to go there. So I'm going to have fun all
Well,
the
you're
way.
mentioning too when we were offline about the power of simplicity and simplifying things. I wondered if you might spend a minute speaking to that and just
Oh,
what
sure.
that is for you and how people might apply that.
Because as I started the conversations with other administrators across campus, we were looking for bigger, better, and different resources. And I'm sorry, you hear my dog in the background who wants to go outside, but
So,
I'll
mom, come on,
continue
mom,
that,
wrap it up. Let's go. Let's go.
right? So she wants to go bask in the sun. And so the bigger, better, is we're reaching out to these companies and asking, can you take us on as a client right now? It's too little too late. So sorry, they're inundated. All the online technologies with all of schooling going online are like, we can't help you right now. Those doors are closed. And so I'm like, okay, hold on. What do we have? What's already here? And how do we think outside the box how do we think outside that box to accomplish that? And the more I started breaking this down, I'm like, we have everything we need right here. It just wasn't connecting at first, but when I really started to think about what's in front of me, what can I accomplish? Everything I have is here. I can work with this. It's just going to require a couple new rules, a couple new procedures, things like that. But that's training. That's easy. I can do that. So we're literally revamping an entire way of running a business in under a week's time because we had no other choice. It's either we shut down completely and just take the coronavirus pay that we hope to get, or we evolve.
Yeah.
And the evolution's been happening.
Yeah. And I think I love that. It's almost like we think of evolution, it has to be so complex, but it's really in the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
You're
And
distilling
there's this
down.
saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And
Yeah.
I wasn't willing to die or in what I do for my business.
Completely aside from it, I've just mentioned hearing your dog talking in the interviews I've been doing. One interview, there was geese flying overhead. Another one, there was birds chirping in the background. Another one, I think there was a cat meowing or something like that. It's really neat having people in these different dynamics where we have either our furry friends or the nature around us and stuff. And I guess just the point of mentioning that is, one, it's really great to hear, but two, I hope this is something that gives people pause too, to take inventory and simplify what's really most important in their life, and just notice perhaps too how many more resources and an abundant life is right now. And then in so doing, you start to get back to that place of simplicity. And can get out of chaos and get to a space where you're really open to evolution.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's Brene Brown that says we're all in a very vulnerable place right now. And vulnerability is the birthplace of all creation. There is so much creation happening right now. And there's so much synergy happening. All you have to do is open social media and see all this content that's being put out for free, all this sharing that's happening. It's amazing. Our nature that's, the dolphins are frolicking around the bays of Italy and heading into the canals of, how I wish I could be there to see that. But somebody's sharing it with me virtually. That's phenomenal.
Oh, that's so cool.
Good things are happening.
Yeah, they really are. The synergy has been incredible. It's been absolutely incredible to see that. Yeah, lots of good things. Colleen, rapid fire questions just to wrap everything up. So people are at home. Most people watching this are probably at home. They're quarantined or in that self-isolated place, and they're going to have some free time. And the worst thing anybody, I think, could do is just use this time to binge watch the Kardashians or something like that and do nothing. But I think there's an amazing opportunity in front of people that they could use this time to develop skills, expand their mind, look at evolving, simplify life. And so on that kind of train of thought, you give everybody one podcast to listen to. What podcast would you recommend? Uh-oh, Colleen, did I lose you?
Rachel Hollis.
Oh, it's starting to come back. It just kind of paused there for a second.
Oh, I'm here. Can you...
Oops, I can hear you kind of. It's that little bit of...
Okay.
Is
that looking good?
I can hear you. The audio is coming back. The video is still frozen, but the audio is coming back.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, there you are. Now
Everything
you're back.
looks complicated.
Now you're back.
I'm here. Okay.
Oops. Oh no, now you froze again. Uh-oh.
Okay, so the podcast I would recommend is somebody I love and adore. Mm-hmm. Apparently my answers to these questions aren't that important.
Okay, now you're back. What podcast?
Shoot. Okay, good. Okay, my favorite podcast I recommend is Rachel Hollis. She is so real and authentic. She's really fun to listen to.
All right, and then book you would recommend people read?
Oh, I have so many, but I think I'm going to recommend Leadership and Self-Deception by the Arminger Institute. That one was one of the first leadership books that really stuck with me.
Yeah, that one is. I had that same experience with it. And movie or documentary you'd recommend people watch?
Oh, goodness. These are hard questions. Something light and fun and clean and so many good lessons in it is Secondhand Lions. One of my all-time favorites. Robert Duvall, Michael Caine, and Haley Joel Osment.
Okay.
The whole family can watch it.
Oh, awesome. Okay, well, since the internet's letting us wrap up here and being nice right now, we better count our blessings and be grateful for what we have. Colleen, thank you so much for taking the time. I think this has been so incredible for people who are in that state of uncertainty, and giving them some tangible tools that they can look at and say, how can I embrace this opportunity? How can I simplify? How can I take inventory of my resources? How can I start creating these synergies? And most of all, like, how can I have fun in the process of it? And I'm so grateful for you, your presence, your time, the way you showed up for your team, and how you're showing up here to help everybody else and share. That was incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to do this. We're going to get through this all together. Yeah. Thanks for the interview. Appreciate it, Jesse.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.